Paul Vojchehoske, the director of Randall School of Real Estate. I am a 1993 undergraduate for my agent license, and then graduate of 1994 broker's license. And you and your team took over Randall School of Real Estate about how long ago?
August of 15.
August of 15. How long does it seem?
It was a job I was not prepared for, and I've been an instructor there for almost 20 years, and I was not prepared to take it over. It's 75% customer service at Walmart and 25% running a school.
Right.
Stolen checks, bounced checks, credit cards that decline, all that stuff.
What kind of clientele are you getting over there? Yeah, it takes all kinds to get into real estate, ladies and gentlemen. It's the same license, both residential and commercial. It just depends on what you do with it. Most of what we learn is through the school to pass the test, and you get us all prepared to pass the real estate test, but then we have to have a lot of continuing education, which is good at Randall as well, both online and in person. They're down at Rockbrook Village Shopping Center. So we thank you for, we can all use more education, and ethics is number one in our industry. And I always say that there's nobody in commercial real estate I wouldn't do a deal with. There's just a few that I prefer not to. And we've got a very unique industry because we're always calling our friendly competitors. There's usually two sides to every deal. And there's not every business, Andy probably doesn't call his Andy, you don't call your competitors every day in collision repair and mechanical, do you?
Not every day, but certainly from time to time.
You get along. You have trade associations and things like that. But we're always, we always need to get along for the sake of the deal and for the sake of our sanity to get along with our, we're showing other people's wares. We're showing other people's inventory. So what we're here to talk about today is an unfortunate trend. The residential real estate market's been very hot in the last couple of years in the nation and around the world, basically. And tell us what your concerns are and what you're seeing out there.
Well, there's a trend called wholesaling, and probably most of you that are listening have in some form or fashion been a part of this, where you receive a phone call or a text that says, hey, are you thinking about selling your house? Or, a quick close, 7 days to close the deal, cash offer, all of that. Well, those are typically calls from wholesalers. And a wholesaler is someone that's out to get your equity out of the property. And what we see, just to kind of illustrate the transaction, let's say, Trenton, that you're the seller and I'm a wholesaler. You and I are going to negotiate a purchase price, and it kind of goes something like this. Hey, I think your house is worth $100,000, and it needs $40,000.
Sold.
Exactly. It needs $40,000 worth of work to it. So I'll cut you a break. I'm going to give you $70,000 for the house. And you say, great, let's do it. So we sign a purchase contract. And structurally what happens as soon as that purchase contract is signed by you and I have what's called equitable title or equitable interest. It's a legal interest, and I could sell that.
And I can't sell it to anybody else.
You can't sell it to anybody else at this point, but I can. And so then I go out and I start marketing for a buyer. And then
is that legal? The marketing part is since you don't have a listing, you just have a purchase agreement. And I know you're not an attorney or CPA, but can you legally, even if you have, whether or not you have a real estate license in Omaha or Nebraska, can you market my house?
So at that point, I can market the equitable interest that I have, not your house, but my interest.
So it's a purchase agreement interest, kind of.
Exactly. Now, the legislature did pass a law, LB 892, that was passed. It goes into effect July 1st, where you have to be licensed or use a licensed agent to market your equitable interest that you got from a contract.
Good.
And it is a good thing. It's modeled after Oklahoma's law that has done a really good job of curbing a lot of the predatory aspects of this, but it doesn't go into effect until July. So that's one thing that was done. The biggest problem that I'm seeing at Randall, it just seems like as the director, I'm like the disinterested third party that everybody can trust. And so they call, and I'm starting to collect these different contracts. And
you said you had 51 of them right now?
51 of them. And what they do is I'll go to you as the wholesaler, Trent, and I'll say, listen, your house is worth $100,000, but it's really worth $175,000. It's one thing if you're honest.
And I'm none the wiser because I'm just a commercial real estate guy. I wouldn't know residential if it bit me.
Exactly. Well, at least you have some real estate experience. I mean, they're really predatory on the unknowing, the people that really are in dire straits or they don't know, and they lie about the market value. There was an inference that I'm going to do $40,000 of work to your property, which I have no intention of doing. That was only so I could even get a lower purchase price. And then I turn around and then I sell it for $175,000 because that's what the market value is.
So I'm actually, you assign it and I'm closing with somebody else and I'm none the wiser.
Yeah, it's called an assignment of a contract. And
so does that buyer then just pay you a transfer assignment fee?
That's essentially what happens. And so at closing, the closing company is going to cut a check to me for what my profit is, cut you your $70,000, and everybody moves on. So
listeners, if you retain anything from this show, number one, if you get a call saying that someone wants to buy your house, and I got a call yesterday as a matter of fact, it was a voicemail because I didn't recognize the number. I think it said spam. And it kind of went like this. It was like, hey, I don't know if I have the right phone number, and I'm just looking to buy a house the next few months, and any conditions fine, and quick close, and it was one of those things. And I listened to it for entertainment value and for research for the show. That's about as much research as I did. Jeff does a lot more research for the show, and to be honest, and so that happens, and I'm sure everyone that's listening, whether you get texts that's away, you get phone calls, you get emails, whatever it is. Number one, talk to a real estate professional. You don't have to, unless you have to leave the country suddenly or something and you need to sell your house for cash and discount it incredibly, there's almost zero reason for you to take that call and just say no. The other thing is, if you get a call to buy a timeshare, you probably shouldn't buy it. As evidenced by the plethora of commercials saying, sell your timeshare now, which they want big money, and you give it away and you give away your equity and everything. Timeshares generally are not a good investment. So that's for a whole nother show because we don't have a lot of time. What else is going on in residential real estate right now, Paul?
We are starting to see some of the price ranges starting to slow down a little bit, but anything under $250,000. And if we're seeing multiple offers, today you may get 4 offers instead of 2 months ago when you had 15 offers.
Because prices are up.
They are.
And rates are going up a little bit.
Rates have gone up substantially.
If you like this video, be sure to hit those like and subscribe buttons. And remember, Grow Omaha is not just media. This is a mission. We are trying to build up Omaha and make it an even better place. We can only do that with your help. Share this video with your friends, neighbors, and family.